Hello and assalamu alaikum, everyone. A very warm welcome to the Advanced Audit and Assurance Webinar to Success for exams in June 2024. And I am your tutor, Kashif Kamran. Now, today is the fourth and the final day of this Webinar to Success. And the focus today is on inspiration to success. I have called upon few of my students to join me today in this session, and they will be sharing with you their stories about how they prepared themselves for the AAA paper and how they got success in the AAA paper. And probably that will be helping you a lot in terms of getting the right motivation ahead of the June 2024 exams. Now, today is the fourth and the final day. In the last 3 days, we focused on the approach to success, the grasp to success, the techniques to success. And today on the fourth and the final day, we're looking at the inspiration to success. Now, it's like very, very important that we should assure ourselves as students that if you want to pass the AAA paper, you can only pass the AAA paper only if you have the right approach, you have the right grasp of the syllabus, and you have the right techniques, which has been guided to you in the last 3 days of the webinar. And the fourth and the most important thing you need at this point in time is the right motivation, is the right inspiration, which will come from some outstanding students in front of you shortly. Okay, I would first like Muhammad Uwais Raza, who is with me, and I will not keep him waiting for longer, just to speak and just to tell students that what has been your approach in terms of success. Ideally, Uwais, what I would like you to tell the students is that this is like 25 days, the exams are away. In these 25 days, what you used to do before I come to the next question. So just tell student that in your capacity, what you did in these last 25 days before exams and what they should focus on. Over to you, Awais. Just let me unmute you just a minute.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, sir. And if I was to tell people what I did in the last 25 days, I think I wasn't done with the lectures yet until 20 days before the exams. So right now I was still taking the lectures, your lectures, right? And what I'd like to recommend is please focus on past papers, because the last 15 days, all I did was past papers and nothing else. I got the Kaplan exam kit, and I did around 48 of the past papers out of the 60 questions there were. So that would be my recommendation. And what I also used to do was I went through the exam questions and answers. I didn't do any timed exams until the last 2-3 days. I just went through all the questions. Like I read the question, I went through the exhibits, and I used to write down with a pencil on the text itself. Okay, this could be a potential answer. This is an answer. This is just jot down bullet points. That's this way I got to cover a large number of questions. Because if I were to answer all of them completely, I wouldn't be able to cover so many questions, right? So I would just jot down bullet points right next to the question. This is an answer, this is an answer, this is an answer. And I would match that to the marking scheme and the examiner answer. The examiner answer is very detailed, as you also used to tell us in the lectures. So we shouldn't aim to do that. But yeah, if you get to, I don't know, 60, 70% of that answer, you'll be able to do pretty well. And that's what I did the entire time. And the last 2-3 days, I did 2 time mocks. That's all I did.
Okay. Always just stopping you for 1 minute. We have been joined by Halima as well. I think she's short of time, so I will just take him on first to speak. She just have like 10 minutes into the session, and she will be leaving. She's from UK, right? And probably you're joining within your working hours, right, Halima? So over to you, Halima. You can now speak in. Just let me mute you. Okay, you can now speak, Halima. First of all, many thanks for joining this session. If you can just share your inspiration story with the students and just give a background that you struggled initially passing the AAA paper and finally you got through, because this session is about inspiring students who are giving the June 24 exams. Over to you, Halima.
Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. So I did I passed my exam actually. So it was 4 attempts that I did. And for me, the thing was when I studied at first, I was studying with Kaplan, and I found that with their syllabus, they would cover they wouldn't cover extensively anyway. It was a lot of it was they teach what they teach in class and you go ahead and do the rest for yourself. But when I discovered your course from a friend, I found that you were really good in like explaining everything from literally it was like you're teaching a baby. That's what I usually say to someone if they ask or if they want recommendation. I always say he's teaching you as if you're a baby, like he's thoroughly explaining to you what you need to know about the course. And I think for me, what changed this time around was really understanding everything and covering all of your lectures that you have. And within your lectures, you do have questions that you send out and homework that you give your students, which we then send to you to then mark us. I found out when every time that I had completed a topic or a lecture, I would do a question which I would send to you, and that gave me confidence because I'd failed so many times. My confidence was a bit low in that I was always like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing this right, where I don't really have that interaction face to face. But sending you my coursework and the exams that I did, that gave me confidence. I was like, okay, I can do this. So I just made sure when it came to how I prepared for the exam, I covered everything within your topic. And I made sure, because you always spoke about how the format of the exam went, and through your webinars as well, just watching the previous ones, you went through how to answer questions. So I just mirrored that exactly. What changed this time around was that I found that the format of the exam was pretty much the same, in that your question one is always going to be either risk or ROM or audit risk. And then you have your procedures, then you have your ethics. And then in your question two, I just had to make sure that I knew my audit report, changes to audit. And then I just had to make sure I knew quality management. I was watching and reading articles, exam articles on ACCA, as well as joining some of the webinars that ACCA had on the exam. I think for me, that was a game changer, and just making sure that I had covered absolutely everything, and just taking your advice when it came to getting myself ready for the exam.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Halima, for that. Just keeping you hold for a minute, right? I need to take on Favor from Netherlands. She is also short of time. She's joining from the office. We know we are working in diverse time zones globally, so she also have few minutes to speak. Favor, over to you. You're from Netherlands, and I would like you to share with students your inspirational story, how you passed the AAA paper in the first attempt. Just let me unmute you. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I am Favor. I live in Netherlands, but I'm Nigerian. So I'm a new immigrant here in Netherlands. And I have 2 kids and I work in a Big 4. So it was intense for me preparing for this exam. It was even in the middle of our busy season. So it was really tough in March. I discovered Kashif Kamran's KKDL kind of like 6 weeks to the exams, because I just wrote SBR in December. So I remember reaching out to you, and then you were like, oh, are you sure you can do this? And okay. And I told him I could do it. And then I bought his course, and I started attending classes, all the lectures, even in the train station. It was really, really helpful. I watched all the lectures and all the webinars, prepared my mind, knowing that AAA is one of the most difficult exams in ACCA with the lowest pass rate. So my brain and my mind was already set on that I must not repeat this exam. So it was really, really tough for me. But in the end, we passed, and thank God for that. And also, I took notes. So usually when I'm watching his classes, I just take notes and make sure that I do everything that he says we should do. And another good thing about the lectures was that you were able to give us how to answer the questions and what to expect. So even though the exam was tough and the exam was not what usually comes out in the past questions, because normally in the past questions, they ask us to identify the risk ourselves. But this time around, we're given the risk and then asked to, evaluate why they are significant. So, that would have really made us like really scared in the exams. But because of your lectures, I was able to answer the questions and also look at the easy marks as well. Yeah, so I targeted the easy marks. And what else? Yes, past papers. I did like 3 mocks, like a week to the exam. Timed mock. I timed myself. And yeah, I think that was pretty much it.
Okay, thank you so much, Favour, for that insight and how you prepared for the triple exams and how that approach brought you success in the March 2024 exams. Thank you so much for taking your time out coming into the session. You can stay as long you want and then you can exit. If you are there, I'll take an opportunity to come back to you and ask you another question. Okay, in the meantime, Halima, I hope you are there for a few minutes. If I can just take on another student and come back to you. Okay, that's great. Okay, lots of students are just moving in and around. So back to you, Owais, if you want to continue speaking on what exactly a student should do on the day of exam, because normally even if you are very well prepared, on the day of exam you get panic and all your good preparation gets lost. So what sort of techniques you use to adopt keeping yourself calm and composed on the day of exam?
Okay, so what I did was I went through the past papers in the last 2 weeks. As I said, I prepared it. I would just type them down in a Word document. So the one day before the exam, I did not do anything new. I just went through that one document. It was around 18 pages long. Went through the document and went to bed early. Did not stress out about the exam anymore because I had done everything I could do. There wasn't anything I could do on the last day that would, I don't know, improve my grade anymore. So I just went to sleep early, woke up, went for the exam. Oh, and I chose the afternoon exam because I can't wake up early. If I wake up early, I'll be super sleepy. So took the exam. You think you'll be able to wake up for easily, be fresh, being fresh. Yeah, that's the main point.
Okay,
and don't stress out one day before the exam. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Wes. Now, just giving an opportunity
No
to
problem.
Ahad. He's waiting a bit longer now. Ahad, many thanks for joining me today for guiding the students for June 24 exam, how they can get success. You got 72 marks in your first exam sitting from Pakistan, so which is an amazing score. So I would like you to inspire the June 24 students. How can they aim at 70 plus score in the upcoming exam?
First of all, I would like to thank Kashif. This course is so well designed that even if you watch the lectures and practice the question on the CV platform, you will easily be able to secure good marks and pass the exam. I think for AAA, the content is not tough. The main thing the students lack is practice. If you give ample amount of time to practice in practicing past papers, mainly what I did is I merged all past papers from 2018 to 2023 since I was a full-time student, so I had enough time to practice past papers. So I covered the lectures within 2 months. In the last month, I focused on past papers. Then I was preparing for 2 exams. So I studied AAA in the early morning because I think the retention power is very, very much. So the main thing for AAA is time management because in the exam, I think you did a survey in which only 7% of people managed to complete the entire exam, and 93% did not complete the entire exam. So main thing for AAA is time management, practicing past papers, and the content coverage is important. But the main thing is past papers again.
Okay, thank you so much, Ahad, for that emphasis. I'll just try to make summarize notes of what you said, what Wes said, what Halima said. Halima, would you like to add something to your day of exam? Because normally the student get into panic mode on the day of exam. They see a new case study in front of them, and they really the stress level goes up. So what sort of techniques you adopted on the day of exam, keeping yourself calm and composed and attacking what you know in the paper? If you can just share that with the audience.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, I think after covering your lectures and the exams that I was going through, I was quite confident, even through, and I know I got 53%, which for me, after 4 attempts, Alhamdulillah, I was happy that I passed. But the thing for me was, I was confident because I'd covered the content. Even with the exam, and it came and it was in a totally different format. It was because I had that confidence that I've done what I could. One, I've gone through my lectures. I know what content section A and B come in. For me, it was like, okay, whatever comes in, you've always told us on your lectures not to panic and just actually read the question. Because I think for me, one of the things previously was I would read the question but not actually understand what the question was saying. So understanding what the question is asking for was very important for me, because then it meant that when he came to answering the question, I knew what I was doing. Question 1 threw everyone off, and everyone came out and they were like, that was a hard exam. For me, it was like, I was like, am I silly for not thinking it was a hard exam? I actually missed out 16 marks out of, the whole paper. And Alhamdulillah, I was able to get that 53%. But it was understanding what the question was saying and practicing obviously on the Practice Plus platform on ACCA, but also minimizing what I'm writing, making sure that it's it's quality over quantity. And you've always told us, because when I was studying with Kaplan again, it was more like they would write a half a page for like a question, but for you, it was, reading the question and actually making sure within the question you're getting content from the actual case study, and then implementing that within your answer, which I didn't do before. Going back to your question, sorry, I kind of went on a tangent. It was I went through my notes, making sure that the things that I knew, for example, in AAA, they are topics which you don't really need to rely on the case study, the knowledge questions. I had to make sure that I knew that. And then the rest of it, I was like, I've done what I could. I know I can definitely score a good mark in section A because I know how section A is structured. I know how section B is structured at least. There's some questions that I know, topics that I am 100% confident I can do. And then the rest, alhamdulillah, I just left it to Allah, and yeah, I was able to pass.
Okay, thank you so much, Halima, for that insight. So I'm just taking on to the next student, Lakhvir. Sorry for keeping you on hold a bit. And again, you were just adjusting your camera in that 10-15 minutes. So I finally got your camera in the right position now. So over to you, Lakhvir. You are from India and you scored 70 marks in March 2024 exams, which is an exceptionally good score. So I would like you to inspire the upcoming June 24 students. What sort of approach can they take to score a 70 plus in AAA? Mostly students find even 50 a difficult score in AAA paper. So over to you. You can just unmute yourself. Okay. Yes, now you can start speaking.
Hello everyone, and of course, thank you very much to you, sir, and
You're
many
welcome.
thanks for the congratulations. I'd like to say that being a working professional, I do acknowledge the fact that getting such a score, even I was not expecting this. But I must say that the ACCA is actually a course that wouldn't want you to rote learn the things, that wouldn't want you to write what they have given in their recommended study material. They would accept if you are being practical, if you have much commercial acumen. And the professional marks, of course, like I have never found it a harsh thing to have that addition. I always found it that you only have to write a line or two extra, and then you get free 5 marks every small question. So it was a freebie for me, honestly. And then if I talk about the course, I would literally say that watching the videos, as many other my fellow contestants have also said, that watching the videos is actually more than necessary, because once you are through with the content, once you are through with the syllabus, then it's all up to you. If you understand the things well, you can definitely apply those in all the questions that come your way. And in my attempt to, people were they had so bad expressions in their faces when coming out, and they weren't even planning to resit, because most of them said that they knew they wouldn't clear the exam. Even I had a second thought that how come I do not have such a thing. I just did it like how I had been doing, like how I've been writing those assignments that were submitted to you. I really worked on the comments that were given to you, and I really appreciate the fact that you give so much individual attention to the students, and those individual remarks at each and every question really worked me. So yeah, that was all. And the CB practice platform, that really is a must if you really need to complete your exam at time. Like I had completed that exam 10 minutes ahead of all the students. I had plenty much time to reread my questions, have some adjustments here and there, and I was more than satisfied with my exam. I did not need to even think about resitting, and I only remembered that I gave AAA when I just got the results. So it was more than practical, and the assignments really worked a lot.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much, Lakhvir, for sharing your thought process on that. Yes, definitely. The overall feedback for the March 24 exams was very horrifying at the first go, because what I gathered from the poll on the WhatsApp was like the paper was like out of context, and perhaps all the students will fail. But on the day of result, it was just a different story. I opened my WhatsApp early in the morning just to check the results, and I saw lots of messages. I passed, I passed, I passed. And when I saw the scores, they were like 70, 65, 68, 69, 64. So that was just the opposite of the reaction which came right after the exam paper. I think that's quite natural. Students, when come out of the exam hall, they start believing that things didn't went well in the exam, but probably that's because of the stress they had been in, and the result comes just vice versa. Thank you so much for that. I would just like to get one question from all of you, in the order, starting from Halima first, then Uwais Raza, then Lakhvir and Ahad Akram. My question is that exams are very near for June 24. So what are your key 3 or 4 tips which you would like to advise students at this point in time, what they should be doing? Keep it to 3, keep it to 4, whatever you like, but no more than 4. Think about the 4 tips you would like to give to the students for June 24 exams as a student who have already passed the AAA paper. Starting with you first, Halima, your 3 to 4 key tips for the June 24 exams.
Yeah, number 1 for me would be look out for any technical articles that have been released with ACCA, and try and read up on them, make a summary, any videos that have come out. And also when there's a new article that has come out, you always make a video in it. So I'd say that's number 1 for me. Number 2, make sure that you go on the ACCA practice platform and practice your time management. Do that a lot, because AAA is such it's a very wordy paper, number 1, and there's a lot to write. There's a lot to write. Number 2, I would say make sure that you've covered at least every single topic within the syllabus. Even the ones that you think they won't come up, most likely they would be a cheeky question from the examiner, that they would think, oh, students don't really know, or they'd think they wouldn't be questioned on that. So I'd say cover every topic. And number 4 for me would be practice, and practice. Honestly, that's what I would say.
Okay, thank you so much. Mohammed Uwais, what's your key 3, 4 tips you would like to share with students for the June 24 exams? I've noted your tips, Halima, so I'll be putting a summary in the end.
Thank you.
I'd say do what works for you, because Ahad said that he used to wake up really early and go through the audit lectures and stuff. What I used to do was I used to wake up around 4 in the evening and stay up till 4 in the morning and study. So do what works for you. And second, practice as much as you can, do as many past papers as you can. Focus on quantity and quality both, I'd say, because don't do entire past papers. Bullet points help a lot when preparing, and definitely do a few time exams as well towards the end. Also, make notes. Whatever you think is important from a question, just jot it down in one document. I think this was really important from this particular question. And that's about it. That's what I did the last 25-ish days. Also, during the exam, when you're in the exam, don't think, oh, I can just stop here. What will 1 mark do? If I had kept going, I had like 5 minutes left, and I said 1 mark won't help me. And if I had kept typing, I would have probably gotten the highest position, but I didn't, because 67 was the highest mark and I got 66.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much, Awais, for that. You missed the position by 1 mark. I still remember that. So anyways, that's quite a good score, 66. Okay, now to Lakhvir, you are there. If you can just give me the top 4 tips, but there is also a question which is specifically marked for you. One student, Haram Tariq, is saying, Lakhvir, kindly give some suggestions on time management. They want time management suggestions just from you. And then you can give your 4 tips.
Well, the only time management you can do while working is forget your social life. I can only say that because I had to do this myself only on like one of all the weekends that I had. I went out with my friends. Otherwise, all you can do is just listen to some music before you go to bed, and you work on weekends. What I did was like I used to get up early in the morning, and then I gave 2 hours daily. Like it was my standard time for every day. No matter what, I had to give that 2 hours time. If I can't do this in the morning, I would give some time in the evening. I would manage some time in between my office work, since I'm currently working from home. But of course, I have a 9.5 hours shift. I'm working in an outsourcing firm, and trust me, it goes beyond 11 hours. At that point of time, like December and January was really hard time for us. So you need to decide, you need to set up a time, you need to give that time, you need to adjust. You have to be strict with yourself. You don't have anyone to tell you what to do, what not to you. You don't need to have your parents telling you to go to study. So if you're working, that's a must that you keep like first 2 or maybe like 3 hours a day. And then in weekends, you can of course have some fun, watch some movies, but then again, like 5 to 6 hours is what you need to give, because AAA of course demands some time, it demands some discipline. So lectures are also, a lot of lectures are there, assignments are also no less, but if you don't do this, then of course you're not going to hone your writing skills. And this is something that I would really want to mention. It could be counted in one of the 4 tips that I have to give today. Even if you know everything, if you're not writing well in that exam, examiner won't know you have the required knowledge. So it doesn't matter that you know something. What matter is that you can put that knowledge into words. You can write it down on that screen. So first thing is that you are going to do it. Do not just worry and keep all the worries at home. Whenever you're going there, you just need to think that, okay, I'll make it. I have been studying for the last 2.5 or 3 months. You can do it. So you don't need to worry at all. I have seen a lot of students who just read the question 2 or 3 times so that they do not miss on anything. Long case studies, so they spend just 15-20 minutes in just in just reading the case study, and that's where they miss the thing. You don't have to read it 3 times. You have been practicing on a lot of things. It's not something numerical that you can miss out on. And of course, you need to manage your time. If in that particular time you're not able to complete the question, just jump on the next question. Of course, if you say that you think that there are 2 or 3 lines you can write and you get 2 or 3 marks for that. Of course, we know the marking schemes. We know how much we have to write in order for the sentence to be fully developed, to be considered by CCA. And that is something you can get to know once you get your assignments remarked by our tutor. he would tell you if it is in enough depth or not. And I would always consider his remarks on each and every assignment of mine. So you need to know if it is working in 2-3 sentences, you can do it. You can extend up to 5 minutes for a question. Otherwise, just go to the next question. And then, of course, like you need to consider the honing of the skills when it comes to writing skills as well. For these professional marks, you need to put some extra efforts, and that would again be gained by doing those assignments, practicing a few questions, and then, of course, a paper or two in the timed environment. And then again, we have those technical articles, we have those examiner remarks. So, of course, examiner is there telling you how he marks the papers of the students. So you can get to know how to write, what to avoid, and what to focus on. That would also help you know the mind of the marker. And we have a lot of debrief videos in the content of ours. So if you don't want to go and you find it boring to read all those long reports, you can simply watch those lectures. And of course, like you can give an hour or two daily, and then sometime on weekend. And I'm more than sure that you guys can do it. Everyone can do it. It's not that of a thing. So it can be a piece of cake if you are dedicated enough. And stay chill. Just do not need to worry. Do not have that worry in your mind or heart that how would it work? I have to do it, or will I be able to do it? No, just stay easy mind. That would be better for you, for your well-being. And if you have a healthy mind, if you have a chilly mood, you can learn things better.
Okay, thank you so much, Lakvi, for that. I just noted things very carefully. You mentioned I'll be making a summary of that, and I'll definitely be posting on the LinkedIn as well, because I'm more into LinkedIn. So I will be posting the top tips by all of you over the next 24 hours over the LinkedIn. Many thanks for that. Ahad, holding for long, your opportunity now. 4 key tips for students to pass the June 24 exams, considering you are the highest scorer among the panel so far. Okay, just let me unmute you. Okay, you can unmute yourself now. Okay.
First of all, I would say that I don't know why AAA is considered the most difficult exam of ACCA. It's the seniors who have guided the juniors this way, or they read the examiner's answers and they get scared. AAA is the easiest exam if you focus on the content and pass papers. If you read the examiner's answer, nobody, even the tutor, cannot write like the examiner. First, clear this thing. You cannot write like the examiner. You are a student, he is a professional, they have teams to write the answers. So first thing is, do not read the examiner answer. If you want to score good marks, what you can do is, as per guided before in his webinars, that you can compare your answer with the examiner's script, which is given at the end. So what you can do is just compare your points. Examiner will say this point has 1 mark, this has 0.5 marks, this has 2 marks. You have 25 days remaining in the exam. So what you can do is start practicing past papers. If you're done with the content, this is the perfect time to start practicing past exams. Start with the CB platform. If you're done with that, then move on, like start from 2022 if you have time. But if you don't have CB platform, do not focus on quantity. The main thing is quality practice. You cannot do 2020, you cannot do past papers from 15 years. You cannot finish it. You'll have to be concise, start from the CB platform. If you're getting the confidence with the practice, I think it will be sufficient. Now, when in the exam, there will be certain parts which are very difficult, but do not get scared. You will always get easy marks, like materiality statement. You can get communication skill by preparing the briefing note. Then you have another thing I would like to add is accounting standards. For question 1, accounting standards are the key, but you do not need in-depth knowledge. Even the basic understanding of IFRS 9, IFRS 15, IS2 will be enough. So what I would say is, if you're done with the content, start practicing past papers, focus on section A, knowledge areas, which is which can be tested for 5 to 10 marks. So I think this would be sufficient to ace AAA. And do not get scared. Do not believe your seniors because they could not do it. So they'll guide you like this. But trust me, AAA is the easiest exam of P level.
Okay, thank you so much. Ahad, you've made things easier for students. You're saying it's not a difficult paper. I hope this message gets down to the student because they still consider it to be a difficult paper. The good thing is that in March 24, the passing rate has touched 38%, which is one of the highest in 31 exam settings. So I think that gives a lot of optimism to students that is inching closely to that 40% barrier. And quite possibly, examiner might be in a mood to make it 40% in June 2024 exam settings. One more thing, I've just noted down your tips. All of you, Halima, Uwais, Lakhbir, and Ahad, I've noted your tips down carefully. It will be on the social media over the next 24 hours with your names and your positions and your remarks and everything. I'll try to keep it as best as possible. I'll even give you a proofread of that on the WhatsApp before I put it on the LinkedIn. So even if I missed out anything, you can just tell me that you need to mention that as well. Okay, so any last thing you would like to add in, any one of you, before I just wind up the session? Halima, okay, you want to add something? Sure, I just unmute you. Okay, sure, you go ahead. Just unmute yourself, Halima. Okay, it's perfect now.
Yeah. The other thing that, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, sure, you can speak now.
Yeah, just touching on what I had said, and that would be, it's really important. And I think what I found useful was knowing the marks to your question. So the marking scheme, knowing that, you know, because that would kind of, I guess, in a way, let you know how much you need to write. So for example, when it comes to ethics, just knowing how many marks per point is going to give you, and knowing how much attention you'd need to give a particular question or particular answer. I think that's really important. And one of the things that helped me as well, when I go through the question, I'm like, okay, so this is a 10-mark question, business risks. I know I have to do, you know, each point is 2 marks, right? I need to write 5 points. That really helped me, you know, when I was doing the exam.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you. I just added that to your list of things the student should remember for June 24. Thank you so much for that, Halima, and many thanks for all of you. I just remember a story. I wish that student would have been in the panel today. I approached the student. He was very busy. He had some audit finalizations. He had a meeting with BDO and couldn't make it to the session today. He's from, I think, Oman or Bahrain. His name is Noman. Just for all of you, he passed the AAA in March 2024, and it was his 9th exam sitting. This is a message for all of you that what Lakhbir was just saying, you can do it, right? You should not be quitting. You all sitting here have almost passed your AAA in the first exam settings. But there are so many students globally who approaches me, this is my 4th attempt, my 5th, my 6th, my 7th. And in certain exam setting, they get through it. Look at the sigh of relief. But a lot of students approach me saying, should we quit the paper and take another paper like APM or ATX or AFM? I normally believe you've invested a lot in AAA. It's just about you're not approaching it in the right manner. I try my best if I can get hold of Noman over the next 2-3 days and do a 10-15 minute specific session with him, 9 exam settings, and he's open to that. He's not hiding it. He's not concealing it. And I think that's a good inspiration story among all the students here taking this session, that you can even pass it, right? So passing is not difficult. What each of these students were telling you, like Halima, Muhammad Uwais, and Lakhbir and Ahad, and even Feva, she left the session because she had some job commitments as well. So the message is, it is possible, right? And Ahad even said this is one of the easiest paper. So you can go with Ahad perception as well, even though the paper is very challenging, but he's of the view it's an easy paper. So I hope you got a lot of positivity from my panel today. And you will go down with that positivity and you will aim at success in the June 2024 exams. So many thanks, Halima and Uwais, for making it to the session, and even Ahad and Lakhbir for making it to the session. If you would like to add something, that's fine. If you want to exit the session, many thanks for coming and taking your time out. And It was a great opportunity, and I'm so overwhelmed that you make it to the session today. And I'll be doing a 10-minute specific session with each one of you over the course of a week, in which I will take times from you, whatever times you say suits you, just 10 minutes, one-to-one session, and I will be taking your times over the WhatsApp over the next 24 hours. Thank you so much once again. Okay, now over to the last thing, winding up the session. Okay. Bye and Allah Hafiz, Uwais Raza. If you want to exit, you can. I'm just taking another 5 minutes and winding up the session in terms of just 1 second. I hope you can all hear me and you're all there. I just want to wrap up the webinar to success, the 4-day webinar. You heard a lot from Halima, Uwais, Lakhwir, Ahad, and Favor. I will be making a summary of that. But look at the screen in front of you. This is the learnings. This is the 10 takeaways of June 2024 on your screen. Number 1, the right timetable till the day of exam. That's the most important thing. And that was emphasized by lots of students who are sharing their views and inspiration stories today. Number 2, the top 16 articles, which I mentioned on the day 1, should not be missed out. Number 3, examining team strong focus on sustainability. I mentioned that on the day 1, and on the day 3, there are 3 articles around sustainability under the syllabus area F. So there is a strong potential of that in the upcoming June 2024 exams. So please be aware of that. Practice, don't undermine data analytics and climatical risk as current issues. A lot of times students ignore and go to the exam hall. Please give 1 to 2 hours on data analytics and climatical risk, because you know there is a definition of expect the unexpected in AAA paper. So be prepared for that as well. Number 5, practice 11 papers, including the mock exam for June 24 as guided on the day 1. Practice 7 papers with examiner report as guided to you on the day 3 of the webinar. Be aware of the changes in question number 1 since September 22, particularly the self-study student. I covered that on the day 3 of the webinar. The time management approach, which I covered yesterday on day 3, is important because completing the paper on 90% of the paper is very, very important. And then the more important thing is stop idealizing the examiner answer. This is exactly what Ahad was also saying. Ahad scored 72 marks from Pakistan, and he was also of the same view. I covered this view yesterday on my day 3. Stop idealizing the examiner answer. And the final thing, write a case-specific answer and a well-developed point. Your point should be well-developed. Lakhwir from India scored 70 marks. She was also giving that view that you should write well in exam. You should have a well-developed point in the exam paper. So these are top 10 takeaways from the day 1, day 2, day 3 of this webinar. And I hope you got a lot of inspiration today from the panel, which I gathered from around the world. And I will be doing specific sessions with each of them for 10 minutes over the week time. So you can catch on that on my social media as well as on the YouTube. I hope there is a poll running in front of you, if I'm not wrong. If you can just participate in that poll, and I hope you can just drop your question, your vote to that poll, would be more than happy. I hope all of you have polled in. Yes, all of you have polled in. So that's excellent. Now, if you have any questions, anyone, you can ask me before I wind up the session. I hope you benefited from the session today. I hope you got some inspiration today. Okay, you are all welcome. You're all welcome. And the most important thing, I wish you all the very best of luck for your upcoming exams in June 24. You need to approach it in a positive mindset, as the students who got success in March 24 were telling you. I hope you got the right motivation to attack the June 24 exams. Yes, my prayers are with you. My well wishes are with you. And I hope you do the best. All the best. Thank you so much, all of you, for taking your time out and joining the 4th and the final day of this webinar. It was made special by the participation of Halima from UK, Favor from Netherlands, Uwais from Pakistan, Lakveer from India, and Ahad from Pakistan. And you had a great opportunity of listening to them. Thank you so much. All the best. Take care and study effectively. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.